At number 5 we have Resident Evil. This game brings back so many great memories. It was the first import game I ever owned when I bought the US version and played it on my UK PS1 doing the old disc swap trick. Yep, this is what we used to have to do to play imported games. It was the first true horror game I ever played with an intro that used real actors giving faces to the characters inside the game. The setting was amazing, being locked away in this mansion infested with zombies, whilst on the outside were these wild zombie dogs which were waiting for you to come out. Playing this with the lights off, late at night, with my friends as a young teenager, this was the first game to truly send shivers down my spine. Especially with the great music score and how each loading screen, and every time that door opened to a new setting, it always built a little sense of excitement with those loading screens. This game went on to spawn countless sequels, with the Resident Evil 7 having just been announced 20 years later at E3 2016. But let's face it, who doesn't love that Oscar-winning acting?
What? What is this?
What is it?
Blood. Jill, see if you can find any other clues. I'll be examining this. Hope this is not Chris's blood.
Today this game, graphically and gameplay-wise, may not hold up, but just the nostalgic value of this game and what it achieved at the time when it came out, setting a new standard for horror games. Every horror game that's out today owes something to Resident Evil, which is why it makes my top 5 of all time. Next on our list is Bioshock. As you can tell, games with gripping storylines are going to be featured heavily on this list. Set in a beautiful location with fantastic graphics that still hold up to today, Bioshock is one of the best survival horror games you will ever play. Much like Resident Evil, you're stuck in this claustrophobic, amazing underwater world. No one will ever forget the first time they see that whale swimming underneath the pod as you get taken into this amazing world created by Andrew Ryan. Who can ever forget the first time that you encounter a Big Daddy and the shivers that it sends down your spine every time you hear one coming around the corner with the little sister hanging off of him?
Look, Mr. Bubbles, it's an angel. I can see light coming from his belly.
Now, before you go crazy and think that I'm going crazy, WWF WrestleMania 2000, based on the WCW video games on the N64 engine, let me tell you something. If you had a bunch of friends at that moment in time and you all sat down and you played this game, you will know just how incredibly addictive this was. The amount of hours I sank into this game far surpasses any other sports game. And as a matter of fact, it'll probably be more than every FIFA and Pro Evo game I played combined. Up to 4 players on the N64, the amount of amazing matches we had on this game, the amount of time we spent playing it, and it had so much going for it. The gameplay is probably better than any wrestling game that's there out right now. You nail someone with your finisher. It's not like today's wrestling games. People used to stay down, they used to sell moves. It had so many nice little touches, all alternative outfits for wrestlers. Pretty much every wrestler that was in the roster at the time was in the game. There was a storyline mode. There was everything you could want in it. All the little all the little things like the little celebrations, everyone's special move was in the game. This game just had it all. As far as wrestling games go, as far as I'm concerned, it may have been 16 years since this game came out, but nothing has even come close to giving the same kind of gameplay fun that this game had. It was much more realistic than the arcade kind of wrestling games you get nowadays. I mean, just looking at the screen brings back so many good memories. You know, how you could reverse the super kick into a stone cold stunner, the Attitude Era, the best era in wrestling, and this game captured it. That's why this game, with the amount of hours it took from me, with the Attitude Era being attached to it, with all the little things that it got right, from Stone Cold's walk and to The Rock's eyebrow and taking his elbow pad off, for the time and even to today, it's probably the best wrestling game that's ever been released and one of the best sports games ever. If you haven't tried it, if you have an N64 in your attic somewhere, now's the time to get it out and give this a try. At number 2 is Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1. This game had one of the most gripping storylines ever, and it is by far the game that I've spent in total the most hours on. Brings back so many great memories, having to save your game onto a memory card on the PlayStation 1, or remember the Nintendo 64 having to put the memory card back into there. What about the Sega Dreamcast VMU? Anyway, we're going off topic. Final Fantasy VII was put across 3 discs and was the first proper RPG game that I ever really got invested in. The game is almost 20 years old now, and it's being remade for the PS4. This game had everything: amazing storylines, good fighting system. If you wanted a game that you wouldn't get your money's worth, you could easily invest over 50 hours into this game. You got to name everyone in your party, you got to really know the characters. The FMV sequences were unrivaled at the time, and when you actually got your teeth into it, all the backdrops, all the graphics were just so gorgeous at the time, and the different environments that you go in, each one just looked so unique and so well put together. It was just such a great game overall. The graphics for the time were also fantastic, and just the anticipation I have to play it again on PlayStation 4 is huge. The battle system, the customization on every character, it was just one of the best games that I've ever played, and there's only one game that I played and enjoyed more than this, and that game is about to come up next.
There you are.
Sarah, are you okay?
Yeah?
Was there ever any doubt? At a time when I started to slowly fall out of love with video games just a little bit, along came The Last of Us, with groundbreaking graphics that, even with over a year now since the next generation of consoles have come out, there's still very few, if any, games that can really touch The Last of Us. A PS3 game. And let me tell you something, if you like your character development, if you like a good storyline, if you like characters you can get emotionally invested in, no game comes close to The Last of Us. This game is just absolutely phenomenal in every way. The gameplay is fantastic. The game seems to go on for just the right amount of time before it comes to an end. The story is fantastic. The character development is top notch. Most Hollywood films can't even match this game when it comes to character development. And you get so invested into the characters with an opening that it just gets you emotionally so invested right off the bat. I'm not going to spoil it, but if you played this game and you've seen that opening, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is the only game to emotionally make me well up just a little bit. It's the only game that I've seen grown people cry to when they get to the end of that opening sequence. And then the game goes on with so many twists and turns, with so many characters that you grow to like, you lose, you gain new characters. It is just the perfect game. The Last of Us is an absolute masterpiece. If there was one more space on this list, it would have gone to another game by Naughty Dog. It would have gone to Uncharted 2, but this game, just the storyline, the character development, I could literally make an entire half an hour video about everything that I loved about this game. The Last of Us is an absolute masterpiece, and it's been 2 E3s since then, and every E3 I cross my fingers hoping that we're going to get the next Last of Us. But on the other hand, there's almost a beauty about just leaving the story where it ended, and about just leaving the game on its own and having it as its own masterpiece in time. But unfortunately, we know what usually tends to happen with games that do so well. The Last of Us, if you haven't played this game, you have to absolutely play it. I've had 3 or 4 friends that hadn't played this game and weren't really interested. I went out and spent my own money to get them this game so that they can experience it, and they absolutely loved it. Everything about this game is perfect. Whether you love amazing graphics, whether you love amazing storyline, whether you love good tight controls, cinematic feel, no matter what it is you like about a video game, this game has it all. Absolutely love it. There was never any doubt that The Last of Us was going to be that game, and I will be shocked if in my lifetime that in the next 50, 60 years there's going to be another game that just connects with people the way that this game did. If you haven't played The Last of Us, go out there, buy a copy, play it now. It's even out on the PS4. You can buy a digitally remastered version on the PS4. This is the best game that I have ever played, no doubt about it.
Hurry up, come on, come on, come on.
So, is this everything you were hoping for?
It's got its ups and downs, but you can't deny the view, though.